All right, we're gonna make sourdough pancakes, and this is a pretty sour. It's been soured a long time, and not good for leavening anymore. Really, it doesn't have enough leavening power, but it has tons of flavor, so that's what we're using this for. Also, really digestible, which is nice. It adds that to the pancakes. So we're gonna take just a half a cup of this. I'm just sort of kind of loosely measuring.
You don't need the scale at this point.
No, I'm just gonna, you can kind of, it's nice, pancakes are good, you can kind of wing it.
Yeah.
You kind of can't go wrong. And probably it's the most, that's how we've been eating grains for a long, long time. Like the first grains that we were eating were just grains mixed with liquid put onto a fire. So basically pancakes.
Wow.
Not leavened, not until Egypt.
Grady's doing his I have to pee dance.
This, and I'm gonna go ahead and you can use this for your next batch. And
Okay.
also, just to let you know, whenever you feed this again, you're gonna have some discard, so just dump it in here.
Okay.
And as this is a lot, it'll take you a while to refill this because of after you make a few batch of pancakes, because you're only gonna start feeding this little bit.
Mm-hmm. It'll take a
while.
while to fill that batch back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I also have other recipes. I have an amazing, which I'm going to send you and anybody who wants this, sourdough whole wheat chocolate chip cookies that I feel totally fine giving my kids for breakfast because they're digestible, they're whole wheat, they have eggs in, they're just like a decent, better than cereal.
I want that recipe. I love cookies for breakfast.
I know, it's like a very Italian thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that back in there. Now I'm gonna do about the same amount of milk that I did the sourdough starter. So I'm just gonna, and I'm kind of winging it. It's okay to do that with pancakes. That's really the nice thing about pancakes is they don't have to be very precise. So just getting all the rest of that sourdough starter, pouring the milk in. And you have that amazing Pima cream, so I'm going to use that.
Thanks, Linda Conroy and Kristi Petipren.
Yes, thank you. If you don't have this, you can use butter or a little bit of oil. The reason we're using this ingredient in here is just for a little bit of the fat content.
Okay, which we like. And look at how thick it got.
Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
That took.
Okay, nice. Put that in there. And let's also put a tiny bit of maple syrup in there to sweeten it up a little, make it taste sort of breakfasty. Probably about 2 tablespoons.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just whisk that together. Whisk. So there's your wet ingredients, and now we need to add dry ingredients to this. Some people will mix their dry ingredients, which is it is a good idea because if you're going to put flour, baking powder, and salt. But also, I'm not going to do that today because, we're busy home cooks. So we're just going to do, and we're eyeballing. We're going to just do it until it is like a thick consistency. Now the thing with pancakes is that you don't want to over mix them.
Okay.
So I'm going to put some flour on top. I'm going to eyeball about a cup. And then we just need a little bit of Rumford, my friend who's a pancake expert, and she's always buy Rumford. Flour ambassador. She says always buy Rumford because it is aluminum free and it's GMO free. So
nice.
It also has a historic significance.
Nice.
You need a pinch of salt.
In the cabinet.
Oh, okay. Anytime you put a little bit of sweetener, you should always add flour because it balances it out. And we don't want to over mix, so I'm not going to whisk. I'm going to use the spatula, and I'm just going to mix until it's incorporated and looks like a batter.
Cool.
There's an old saying that same friend who's the pancake queen, Amy Halloran, the flour ambassador, she said that historically people would talk about having a light pancake hand, and what they meant was just somebody who could mix the pancakes without over mixing the pancake. So.
Is that her handle on Instagram?
Yes, Flour Ambassador. She's amazing because she really is doing a lot. She wrote a book about the grain economy and how to, keep a healthy grain economy so we have a healthy world. And so hopefully I didn't... Okay, so that looks a little lumpy, but I'm going to stop because I don't want to over-mix it. There's no dry flour. And so this looks... This is a little thick.
Uh-huh.
So we could, if we wanted to thin it out, we can make a pancake or two and see. If we want to thin... Actually, I think I might thin it out just a little bit with more milk.
Yeah.
And just make it till it's like the batter, the consistency is a batter-like. So then we can turn this on. So we'll have to let that heat up.
This is leftover bacon grease and egg. So we're going to leave it.
With pancakes, definitely don't overcomplicate it ever.
Nice.
So we're just going to scoop out maybe 2 scoops in each pancake. They'll be like little silver dollars. Of course, we could have made this thinner if we wanted, and then just poured little batter ones, but they would just be thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And with pancakes, I always learned, I don't know about you, but I always learned you wait for them to have a little bit of bubble on top.
Yep, I did learn that.
Yeah, so we'll just do that. And these are whole grain, 100% whole grain from Main Grain, who's an amazing mill, and she has a stone mill that, so what that means is that everything that goes into the mill comes out of the mill. There's no taking off the bran or germ, so we're getting all of that we're getting all the nutrition from the bran and the germ in this, plus, I'm going to turn this down a little, plus, these are sourdough, so that, these haven't, the sourdough portion of it sat for at least 18 hours, so that's very digestible. Then we mixed it with this other flour that, I need to flip these.
Okay. Beauty.
Yeah. I don't want to overcook them. I don't see a lot of bubbles, but
You can tell.
also, I just feel like I don't want the bottoms to be too.
Wow. They look gorgeous.
Yeah, they're a little cute. They're cuties. And I think I will add butter before we do the next.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this pretty low just because it's smoking a lot.
Yeah.
The bacon grease makes such a nice caramelized.
Bacon grease.
Yum.
Now, would you put butter on top as well, like when it's on your plate? Or?
Oh, yeah. Me?
Yeah.
Butter is like half my diet, probably. Bread is the other half.
That is your meal, morning meal, y'all.
The nice thing about it is that, it's like left over from, you don't have to waste the discard of your sourdough. And there's lots of recipes for if you look up sourdough discard, you'll find recipes online, or you can reach out to me because I have a bunch for crackers, crepes. I just went to France and made a ton of crepes with my discard.
So would you, how would we reach out to you?
On 1,000 Bites of Bread, just DM
.com?
me.
Okay.
Or you can go on the website and find my email address. But DMing me on Instagram is a pretty fast way to get a hold of me because most people are reaching out to ask me bread questions every day. My bread students. Now, if you if you like different textures with pancakes, you can always get that by adding more or less of things. If you like a thinner, lacier pancake, that's more like a crepe, you can make it much thinner. If you like, more fluff, add a little bit more baking powder. We kind of were just winging it, so we just, did our best.
I like this. It's just like a little meaty and substantial.
Notice that I am using the heat always think of heat as an ingredient in anything that you're cooking. And like any ingredient, you know, that usually you'd be tasting and seeing if something tastes salty enough, but heat is like an ingredient that you're sensing. So I'm seeing like, oh, this is cooking too fast. I need to turn it down, and don't be afraid to play with temperature as an ingredient to make good food. I don't have bacon grease that often, and they're browning up so nice. I hope they're so if you open one and they're gummy on the inside, like not cooked, then you would take this and put it in like a really low oven to finish the cooking, if you wanted to do that. But I think they're going to be okay. But we can tear one open and see.
You're using a small amount.
Yeah, just enough to coat the...
And then you do most of the fat at the end.
Oh, you mean like to add butter to it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like butter. I'm a very classic pancake eater. I like butter and maple syrup.
Yeah, me too.
Have you ever read it's a kid's book, so it's something that I read like when I had kids, but it's called Pancakes for Breakfast.
No?
Oh my gosh, it's the cutest. The nice thing about pancakes is you can make a huge batch, and you can freeze them and just take them out and pop them in the toaster or something. So they can, if you make a big batch, I'm really loving the way the bacon grease is working. Because butter burns, has I guess a lower smoke point or whatever. It gets more burnt. These are getting like nicely caramelized.
Animal fat for the win.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about animal fat.
Yeah.
Freezing these. Look at it. We're already accumulating a lot. And then pop them in your toaster. Lego my sourdough handmade pancake.
Seriously. Actually, I have a sourdough waffle recipe that, it's more labor intensive than this, but it is a good thing that you can like Lego my Eggo. Just make a bunch and put them in the freezer. But the nice thing about these too, these are 100% whole grain, and you really don't need a lot of this to be full, and it'll sustain you a long time. Plus there's eggs for protein, and so it's like a really complete, with a little fruit compote or something. And of course butter.
That's so important. Like when our grain got traded out for less whole ingredients, and we started like not getting satisfied, and we villainize the pancake instead of the process.
Yeah, I mean, most of the wheat flour that people are eating is really just one part of the wheat, which I know I talked to your group about, but it's really just that endosperm, so it's missing a lot of the stuff that is inherently in the wheat. But when you have it whole like this and freshly ground, and you're keeping it in the freezer, so this is like really retaining a lot of the nutrition. It's nice.
Because we feel more satisfied with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to have leftovers here.
Yay.
And you have more to make another batch.
More in the bowl, you mean?
More in the, remember we only used like half a cup of the sourdough?
Oh, right.
So you can make a whole nother batch later. And it'll probably take you a while to get through this batch. That's the thing about living with 2 people. It's like cooking for 1 or 2 is way different. You have to use your freezer. We're so lucky we can.
I know my good friend who has 4 kids, I was so not used to shopping and cooking for them. Like, by the time they leave, I'm like, okay, I can get the hang of it. They eat a lot.
Do they come all together to see?
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's a whole nother flow to your day.
Yeah.
We use spelt, and you really taste the spelt in this. It's so good. And we made it kind of dense, which I like.
Yeah.
So.